Hello guys, this is IPTech here and I'm back with another video. This one's going to be a follow-up video to my previous video, the previous take a look that I did yesterday, or the day before actually, from when I'm recording this, about the GTX 1080 and 1070 launch, or Pascal launch. So in this video I want to give you some more further information, as in that video I just gave all the information that was given on the live event and didn't cover the extra information that has come out in the last few days from like people that have attended the event, and also what NVidia has given us on their website, as well as some people actually going into the code of the actual NVIDIA website and figuring some additional stuff out. And firstly, I want to focus on the specs, or the full spec list that NVIDIA has given us on their website, which I'll link in the description. And so we can see that it's got a 2560 NVIDIA CUDA cores, which is what I said in my previous video. The base clock actually is what I'm more interested in, and the base clock is going to be 1607 megahertz base clock and 1733 megahertz boost clock, which is amazing. It's not as high as the 2111 megahertz clock speed that we saw in the NVidia Live Event that I talked about yesterday, but that was heavily overclocked on probably a special bin chip. I don't know if any ordinary card is going to reach that. Maybe, hopefully they can reach that in an overclock, but still the boost, the base and boost clocks are still pretty amazing, far better than what we saw with the Maxwell generation, which had the reference cards, because these are the reference card specs. The reference cards for Maxwell were like at 1000 megahertz or something like that, and this is just amazing. Boosting performance and the clock speed moving down to Pascal and 16 nanometers is pretty amazing. Also the memory, the 8 gigabytes of GDDR5X on the GTX 1080 is going to be clocked at 10 gigahertz or 10,000 megahertz. Probably is going to be the clock speed of the memory, and it's going to be on a 256-bit bus, so it's going to be the same as the GTX 980. I was hoping they would go for a 384-bit bus like the 980 Ti, because this is going to reduce the actual bandwidth, and the actual bandwidth is going to be 320 gigabytes per second, which is actually 16 gigabytes per second lower than the 980 Ti. So even though he has the new GDDR5X memory, then it's still a bit lower bandwidth, but hopefully the performance and the clock speed actually make up for that and make it a great card for 4K. And as you can see, I'm not actually talking about the GTX 1070 because they actually haven't released full specs for the 1070 yet. Hopefully they'll release it soon as we get closer to the date. And there's also some other information here which you can check out in the description. What I wanted to talk about is on Deleted Tech. I'll leave a link to that website in the description below. They found hidden information in the HTML source code of the GTX 1080 page, and they found out some further stuff like the benchmark shown, which showed that the card will perform like 80% better in Tomb Raider, 70% better in The Witcher 3, and in VR over 2 times more performance in VR. And they figured out that the benchmarks that were shown were actually conducted in 2560 by 1600 at max settings. So it's not a 4K, which is what I thought it was going to be, like the benchmarks, but that's fine. That 1600p is good at maxed out settings. And the NVIDIA SLI bridge, which you can see in some pictures, will be available for pre-order and limited to only one customer though. Will also be available at Amazon, Microcenter and Fry's. I'm reading this off the website, which you can check out on the description. The more interesting thing is that the up to 3 times performance had a disclaimer in it in the source code that said it's based on test results in graphics intensive VR gaming applications. It's not just normal games, actually VR games, and you can't be confused with the actual performance in actual games, so that could be lower or higher. And if you've actually been on Twitter recently, then you can, and Instagram, you can actually see that people have already actually gotten the GTX 1080 already for testing and benchmarking. And from what I saw, it's like Jace2Sense, which is a big PC tech channel, has got one already. Awesome Source News and also Pulse Hardware as well, and some gaming websites as well have gotten the card, and Linus Tech Tips obviously, which is the biggest PC tech channel there. So they've already have actually the card, but at the moment it's under NDA. And according to a leak from Jason at Upload VR. Full name is Jason Evangelo, but I think that's how you say the name. And he tweeted out saying that the embargo for the Pascal info that they were getting on the live event because when the YouTubers and the people that were invited to the live event got additional information about the GTX 1080 and also were given the GTX 1080 for benchmarking. He said that the GTX 1080 reviews with the embargo and or the NDA, it's going to be lifted on May 17th, so it's going to be 10 days before the actual launch of the card. It's going to be very interesting. I can't wait for that. It's only about it's about 8 days away, so about a week away, which is very exciting. But the tweet was deleted, so this could not be true as well. It was actually deleted, and NVIDIA hasn't stated anything since then. Other things is a bit more confirmation on the Founders Edition, because I was a bit confused. They didn't make it very clear what the Founders Edition is and the normal edition is. So if you saw from my previous video, the Founders Edition is going to cost $699, so $700 basically, and the normal MSRP of the card is actually $599, which is $600, and which is what I thought the reference card was actually going to cost. But it turns out from this article on Gamers Nexus, they've managed to find out some more information saying that the reference card is the Founders Edition, and it's going to be $700 basically for this, the new cooler design, the reference design basically from NVIDIA, and the actual $599 is the MSRP, or meaning that it's what the lowest possible value for the card that's going to be priced, or the lowest possible price for the card from third-party manufacturers like MSI, Asus, and EVGA as well, is what's the price that they can go down to. As we know, mostly the aftermarket coolers for the cards, or the aftermarket cards with custom PCBs, tend to cost a little bit more than reference, so it could actually be more than $700 for the actual card, and the $599 probably wouldn't even be able to see it for at least a few months after the release. And what I think is going to happen is that the GTX 1080 is the minimum price for the GTX 1080 is going to be $700, and you won't be able to get it for $599 anytime soon. But that's just my opinion. You can check out all the articles I've linked here, and they'll be linked in the description, so you can decide for yourself what to think. But that's what I think, which is a bit disappointing. $700 is quite a lot of money. They should have made it clear in the live event, but you can let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would like to hear your opinion, and this is going to be it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you give it a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.